So in this video, I'm going to explain about the row match and column match attributes, row span and column span. These are the attribute names. How we are going to use along with the table tags. Okay. So what is the necessity of merging rows? What is the necessity of merging columns? So that I am going to explain in this video. So to type my program, so I will open the Edit Plus software. See, we can type it in Notepad also, not a problem. Okay, so click on File, New, choose the type of the file requirement. Yeah, so by default, some tags names are displayed here. Okay, no need to worry about all, and we need to change the title for your program. Here, this is about column span and row span. That is nothing but column and row merging. Row merging. Okay. Now inside the body tag, which information we are going to display as part of the output, that information we need to keep it inside the body tag, in between the open body tag and closing body tag. Now I will directly type a table and I will explain how this column span and row span will affect on the table contents. First I'm going to create a table. Okay, in my first row, my first table data element. Okay, that is date of birth, so DOB, and this DOB field is going to occupy two column size, so that I can express with the help of column span attribute COLSPAN. The full name is column span, means you are going to merge two columns. That means the DOB element is going to occupy two column size. Now row span, row span is equals to 2, means two row size it is going to occupy. Okay, so DOB. Column span means if you want to merge columns, you have to use column span. If you want to merge rows, you have to use row span. Okay, that is the first row. Now, in the next table data element, the same row, I want to display one more table item, that is TD. Okay, here date of birth I am going to give. So first 25th. So my first row I'm going to close end the first row. First row contents are ended. Now in the second row, the table data item is month. Suppose August. Okay. The next row, table row. That row is closed. In third row, I'm going to display the year, birth year. Suppose 2000. Okay. Here I need to close this row. Finally, I need to close the table. Okay, by default table border is not visible, so we need to pass border is equals to some thickness. Okay, border equals to 5 I said, and by default the table color is not displayed in the background. If I want other than black, we need to apply some background color. Okay, so for example here it is aqua blue color is applied as the table background color, and by default the table is aligned to the left side of the screen. I want to get it on the center of the screen, so I need to pass one more attribute called align is equals to center. And by default the cells are very closed, and I want to increase the space between the cells, and I also increase the space between the cell and its inside content. So these two things I can done with the help of cell spacing attribute. Okay, and one more is cell padding. Any number you can give it as per your why I given 15, why I given 20, you can give it. If you want more space, you can increase that number. That's it. But the purpose of cell spacing is to increase the space between the adjacent cells. The purpose of cell padding is to increase the space between the cell and its inside content. That is the difference. Okay. Now I need to save this program under web technologies, which is available in the D drive. Yeah. So row span demo dot html is the file extension. Okay, HTML means hypertext markup language. So once we saved it, open your drive and directory, that is in D drive. Directory name is Web Technologies. Just now I created a file with the name Rospan demo. If I want to watch the output, I need to double click on this one. If you see here, the contents are displayed like this. There is some improper statement is here. I will correct it now. That is here I forget to close table row 8. Then a table row span is equals to date of birth. Another table row is row span is equals to date, okay, month and year. Yeah, this one. So in my output, I need to get this year on the right side. Okay, yes. Why? Because actually I made it row span as 2. That is the reason the first element is occupying 2 rows only. But I need to get this DOB field which is going to occupy 3 rows size. So here I mentioned here it is 2 only. If I change this as 3, okay, then now I will get the correct output like this. You see? So date of birth. The date of birth is 25th August 2000. Okay, so previously I got this DOB up to the second row only. Why? Because I mentioned the row span as 2, but now I changed that row span value as 3. So what is this 3 and what is this attribute row span? So row span is nothing but how many rows are going to be occupied by the following element. What is the element? Data field, that is called DOB. DOB is going to occupy 3 rows size. DOB. If you observe the output, the DOB field is occupying 3 rows. Yes, this is first row, this is second row, and this is third row. So 3 rows size is occupied by a single data element, that is called DOB. So in the first row, what is the first element? DOB. In second row, what is the first element? Again DOB. In third row also, what is the first element? DOB. Only second element we need to specify in the first row, second row, and third row. Only in the first row only we are specifying DOB field. In the second row we need not specify. Why? Because we clearly specified that this element is going to occupy the second row as well as in the third row. Okay. So in the second row we need not specify the first element, that is called date of birth. We need to specify only month. In third row we need to specify the birth year. Okay. So this is the importance of row span attributes, that is used to merge. So to club 3 rows together, and that should be occupied by a single element called date of birth. Now in the same example, I will use one more thing, that is column span. So how we are going to apply the column span, I will explain now. So in the same program, I will begin one more table. Okay, table, and the first row, the first data element is, suppose in our class timetable, generally we see the class timetable Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday first hour, second hour, third hour, like that. So the first field I am going to assign like this, Monday. Okay, and on the Monday the first hour is, suppose for example, subject 1. Okay, subject 1. Okay. The next hour is lab. Okay, so the lab generally, labs duration is 2 hours or 3 hours. Suppose if you are interested to assign 2 hours for a lab, suppose you can assign like this: column span is equals to 2, means 2 columns are going to be matched by a particular lab name. So lab name, suppose lab 1. Okay, okay, next normal subject, that is subject 2. After lab again theory subject assigned. Okay, that is subject 2. Now this one. So once we keep all the fields, we need to close, sorry, we need to close table row. Okay, table row. At the end, we need to close the table. If there are no more rows to display, we need to close this one. As usual, we need to, by default, the border is not visible, so we have to set some border thickness, suppose some 5. Okay, and similarly, background color we need to apply. So BZ color is equals to pink. I am going to apply pink color for the second table, and we need to increase the space between the cells and cell and its content. So cell spacing is equals to 10. I am applying. Cell padding is equals to 20. I am applying. So these numbers are your choice. You can assign any number as per your need. Okay, cell padding, and I need to change the alignment of the table to the center of the web page. So I pass align is equals to center. Okay, so I saved this application. Just rerun the program and say previously the program contains only one table information. This time I am providing one more table. So two tables are going to be displayed by this one. You see here Monday subject lab 1 and lab 2. So lab 1 is going to occupy how many columns? So two columns. So just open it this one. So column span, here it is row span. So which element is going to be occupied by two columns spaces, that is called the second table data element. The second table data element, the third table data element is going to occupied by two columns. So when we need to provide one more row also, because to notice that whether it is really occupied or not. So Tuesday, okay, the second record first element is Tuesday, and the first table data element is suppose subject 3, okay, and next field is subject 4, next field is subject 5, next field is subject 6. Okay, yeah, finally we need to close that row. Once we insert the required number of fields in that particular row, so we need to save this one and rerun the program and observe the output. See, yeah, we need to add one more subject also. One more subject means we need to add one more subject, that is subject 7. Subject 7. Yes. So now you can observe the on Monday, the second hour lab is occupying two column size. See, lab duration is 2 hours. So the subject, the respective lab subject is occupying two column size. So how can you obtain that? How can you convey that information to the browser? This data element is going to occupy two column size with the help of column span attribute. That is the importance of which element is going to occupy two columns? Lab 1. Why? Because this lab 1 is embedded in between open TD tag and closing TD tag. This element we want to occupy two columns. That's why only for this element only we specified column span value as 2, because my requirement is lab duration is 2 hours. That's why I assigned column span is equals to 2. Whereas in the previous example, row span is equals to 3 means the following element is going to occupy 3 rows size. You can observe this one DOB. DOB is occupying how many rows? 3 rows. Lab 1 is occupying how many columns? 2 columns. So in this way, we can use row span attribute and column span attributes to merge the rows and to merge the columns. Row span means merge the how many number of rows. Row span is equals to 3 means we need to merge 3 rows together. Column span means merge the columns. How many columns here? In this example, it is 2 means 2 columns merged together, and that is occupied by a single data element. Here the data element is called lab 1.